I got to start officially on the mic. That's right there.
Here's, I got some more handouts, Ken, if anybody wants.
Okay, thank you. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the 42nd CALLERLAB Convention. Today is Tuesday, March 31st. And my name is Ken Ritucci. I'm going to be the moderator of this session called Hindsight.
And a contributor.
And a contributor.
The orange give me one better.
And we have a few opening comments, but before we do that,
More voice.
more voice. Okay, thank you. We just plugged this in, test 1, 2. How's that? Good. Okay, very good. Great. So, before I have a few opening comments, I know I do give a handout. Lee does have some handouts that he'll deal with in a few minutes. We're so happy to see so many people here. And I'm the moderator for this session, but you know, somebody once said the other day that the reason why most of us are calling, or the activity we have, is because of the gentleman that's sitting to my left. And that is, when I think about it, I go, you know, it's really true. He truly is a legend. I'm sure you all know about him. If you don't know about him, you soon will. And we're going to talk today about site calling, but first I'd like to have a nice hand for Mr. Lee Kopman. Just by a show of hands quickly, how many on a regular basis use site calling? Okay. How many have never done site calling at all? Okay. I understand why. Okay. How many been site calling for their whole career? How many have really feel comfortable site calling? How many really don't feel comfortable site calling? Yeah, be honest. Okay. Well, we're going to hopefully show you a few things today. My handout, and I'm going to briefly go over very quickly, is I broke it down into site calling for beginners and site calling for experienced callers. I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now, but basically, for beginners, I said that the newer callers usually have many questions when it comes to learning how to site call. And we have to remember, think of site calling, there's really two parts. There's the site calling, and then there's the site resolution. So you can call and call and call all you want, but at some point, what do we have to do? So, we got to bring them home. We got to do something with them. You can't just keep calling them and letting them wander out in the desert, you know. You have to bring them home. And that's the reward for the dancers. How quickly you do it, or how proficiently you do it, comes with experience. I always feel that the resolution part really is the harder of the two. I mean, basically almost anybody can just get up and just start calling calls. But what do you do with them? You have to bring the dancers home. Remember, that's the reward for the dancers, when you bring them home and start a new sequence. There are particular site calling methods, and if you don't have a method, we highly recommend that you learn a method. And as many of you in this room probably know, that as your experience level grows, you sort of morph away from a set type method and start utilizing other methods, or seeing things on the fly and start saying, oh, okay, I don't have to get them into two face lines. I don't have to get them into facing lines anymore. I can see right now, if I just did A, B, and C, I can resolve. But that comes with experience. Beginner site callers can't see that. Work the method, stay with it until you have mastered it. And if possible, work with the local experienced caller and refining your site calling skills. Your site calling skills will get better the more you call. And for those of you sometimes in newer callers don't have a group in front of them, it makes it very difficult for them to master their skills because you don't have the live bodies. But if you have a group that you can call to on a regular basis, you know, especially if they're familiar, your own club or people you know, you feel at a good comfort level. If you try starting experimenting site resolution at a place that you don't know the dancers, you could probably have some problems. And very quickly, site calling for experienced callers, those who feel comfortable with the site calling and the resolution, can do certain things to improve their skills. If you find yourself using one method, maybe it's time to learn another. I work with a lot of callers at the schools during the year, and some of them are experienced, and they'll say, the only way I ever resolve is from two-phase lines. I said, okay, well, you've been calling long enough to know. Let's try something different. And they go, you know, I want to learn a new method because even my dancers start to realize when I'm going to resolve because I go through steps A, B, C, D, and E. So if you feel that you have morphed out of a particular method, you're finding success, then it might be time to learn quickly how you can visualize your key dancers on the floor and resolve as quickly as possible. And then on the back side of my handout, I have some things that you can get used to doing, writing down your primary or secondary couples, what to look for in a square, matched outfits, colors, people, friends, people you might know. But I know that I'll also interject as we go along. I know Lee's got some things he wants to talk about. We certainly will take questions from the floor as time permits, and so don't be shy about that. So right now, why don't I say Mr. Lee Kopman.
If you see an ad in one of the Scrivener's magazines that says to you, "Sight calling learned in a weekend with 2 or 3 sessions," I would be suspect. This is a very hard skill to learn. When I first started to learn how to call, I went to a caller school thinking that I would be able to learn how to do this in a weekend. I went to the school thinking that I would be able to do it. I came back home, I worked with my checkers, and I thought that I had it down. I called a friend of mine, I said, "Jerry, I think I have it down. Come on over." He said, "How do you do it?" I said, "I don't know, but I think I know how to do it. I can't tell you. And there's no shortcut. It's very hard to do. I can't tell you in this hour. I'm going to just suggest some methods on how you can learn how to do it. There's no shortcut. Close your eyes. Head slide through, pass through, veer to the left. Do a Ferris wheel. Who's in front of couple number 1? Does anybody know? Anybody know?
Number 2.
Okay, you got it. Open up your eyes. This is the way you practice mental imagery. If you have a line of 4, 1P, 2P, and you pass through and wheel and deal, who's in front of couple number 1? Okay, you got to do it faster than that because the dancers are waiting. That's one way that you practice your mental imagery. Now, when I used to be a phys ed teacher, and I was starting to learn how to call, and what I would do is I would just practice some simple things in my mind, just 2 or 3 simple calls. Like if the heads slide through and they square through 3, where are they? Well, I know they're looking at their corner, but at that time I didn't know it. And when I write down these few things, and I would come home, put my checkers down, and see if I was right, if I was able to visualize that. I would write down if the head squared through 4, now who am I looking at? Well, I know I'm looking at my corner. But if I do a right left through and I roll over with a half sachet, who am I looking at? I know I'm looking at my corner. If I touch a quarter and I scoop back, who do I have next to me? I would write that down, put the checkers down, and see who I have. If the girl's fold and I turn back, who am I looking at? I put the checkers down, and if I knew that I have somebody next to me that's familiar, then I know mental imagery plays. So you start to think about that thing, and when you finally get to the square dance, and you can start to see what's happening. You can visualize what's happening. That mental imagery is very important in terms of your calling skills. That's how you develop them. And you don't start to think spin chain through, spin chain exchange of gears, but you practice very simple things. If the head square through 2, and you do a right and left through and you pass to the center, what's the very simple call you can get to, just 1, to get to your corner? You got it. If the head square through 2, you do a right left through, you pass to the center, do a right left through, give me 1 call that will get you to your corner. You got it. Now I'm going to show you some very simple things before we get to that of how you can really practice. If you're a new caller in here, I'm going to show you how you practice initially where you can visualize and do your side calling, and that's with two couples. Two couples, just practicing with two couples. I want the square to come up here, please. Let's have couple number 1 and 4 here, and 2 and 3 as two couples. Here's how you practice your two couples. There are about 40 some odd rules that you can practice on the mainstream and the plus list just here. And here's what you do. You give yourself your project is to do right and left throughs without going right and left through. Right here with two couples. Don't give me any. Don't talk to me. Right here. You know how to do a right and left through, but I don't want to call the right and left through. I want to call other calls equaling a right and left through. And I'll show you where this is going to play into an eventual square through, where we get into the squares. Example. Watch the groups here, okay? Pass the ocean. Hinge. Girls turn back. You've done a right and left through. I'm going to give you another one to get it back here. Slide through. Fan the top. Do a recycle. Veer to the left. Girls hinge. Cut the diamond. Bend the line. Don't screw around. You know, on the left-hand side. That's why we charge you. Touch a quarter. Walking dodge. Do a U-turn back. You're finished. Now we're using a lot of calls, all on the mainstream or the plus level, whatever, without calling the right and left through. And here's how you practice. Initially, when you start to do it, here's what you're going to have to do if you're a new caller will ever. It's going to look like this. To do a right and left through equivalent, pass the ocean. Let me see, girls trade. Let's see, maybe spin the top. And then you look around and you're saying maybe hinge, maybe circulate. How about girls turn back, do a right and left through. How about do a flutter wheel, sweep a quarter, slide through, maybe a veer to the left, bend the line, and do the right and left through. No, I don't want you to do it. We did an equivalent of a right and left through, and I told you not to talk to me today.
We hung out over there before.
I told you, well, I want you to do the right and left through equivalent. We're going to do another right and left through equivalent using the calls. And this is how you practice your sight calls. I'm going to do another right and left through equivalent. Pass the ocean. Hinge. Scoot back. I'm going to get him back home again. Everybody hinge. We're using calls at the plus level to explode the wave. Chase to the right. All the boys run around the girls. And you've done it. Using all these calls without calling the right and left through. Now I'm going to put them together. Square up. Now as long as we square it up, and I haven't done this before, introduce yourselves. Couple number 1. Tell them your name and where you're from.
Ladies first.
Okay.
Try to use the microphone, Lee. It's being recorded.
I'm shy. No, I'm not shy, right? I'm Lilith and I'm married to that fellow over there. Going to be 60 years in June.
Dave Eno, Syracuse, New York area.
Alan Riggs, Centennial, Colorado.
Bob Riggs, Centennial, Colorado.
Anita Johnson, Lake in the Hills, Illinois.
Barry Johnson, I'm with her.
Jody King and I'm with him.
Jody King from Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, now we just did the right and left through equivalents. Now let's see how that plays after you practice this with two couples. Have the head slide through. One of the things that's important, what just happened right now, is these two ladies have changed. I mean, we've lost them. Now you know one of the key things here is if you square through 3, we can do an elevator left. Is there anybody here that doesn't know that? If you don't know it, learn it. Practice it right now. One of the key things here is that these two girls are interchanged. That's very important right there. Two ladies are interchanged. If we square through 3, not a problem. You know you can do an element left, okay? Just for our purposes here, pass through partner tree. Pass through here. Now you know all those things you practice with two couples? Yes or no? Talk to me.
Yeah.
Okay. We can practice all those calls here with these two couples right here. The right and left through equivalents. Example, okay? Pass the ocean. Everybody hinge. Girls turn back. We did a right and left through equivalent. I'm going to do another right and left through equivalent right here. Veer left. Girls hinge. Diamond circulate. Cut the diamond. Girls trade. Bend the line. Reverse flutter. Slide through. Pass through. Do a partner trade. Right and left through equivalent. Don't do it. I mean, you can call a whole dance right here, just using the right and left through equivalents, where you've got about 45 calls that I listed to you that I'll hand out to you, without getting really too complicated, right here, after the heads do the slide through. Now, of course, if the heads do the slide through and you square through 3, what's the only comfortable hand that you have available? Left, okay. If you didn't want to have that left hand available, then you would come in with a square through 4, then you can start to work with right hands. You know what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
All right, back out heads, square up. Have the heads, instead of doing a square through 4, just move in the pair off and face the outside. Now you got your right hand available, okay? Now we're going to work right here. You know you're looking at your corner.
Yes.
Okay? Now we're going to start to work right here, because we'll eventually want to come into an Alameda left right here. Okay? We got the right hand available. We're only working right here. Touch a quarter. We're going to start to do equivalents to do right and left throughs, but we're going to work right here, eventually getting back to doing Alameda left. Scoot back. Boys fall behind the girl. Girls turn through. Courtesy turn this girl. Put her in the lead, Dixie style to a wave. These are all comfortable calls. You don't have to peek, trade the wave. Recycle, and you're back. Take a look at it. All calls with two couples. Right here. You can call a whole dance here. I do a right and left through. Now, you know how to do those there? With those 4 couples, you know here, I'm going to get you back here in a minute. Pass to the center. Center's pass through. Okay, those 4 couples? Okay, first do a right and left through here. Now, is there anybody that cannot see that if you pass to the center and pass through, you can do an Alameda left? Can everybody see that? Talk to me. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to do that yet. But you know those 2 couples moves that we did? We're going to play right here with these 2 couples here. Any one of those moves, pass the ocean. Spin the top. Hinge. Scoot back. Hinge again. Gentleman trade. Swing through. Why don't you do a linear cycle? I wrote that, I love it. Reverse flutter. Everybody slide through. Pass to the center. Pass through. You're back home again. So we worked the 4 here. We worked the 4 here, and the 4 there, and we used all those little calls, eventually getting back here. And remember, initially, we started off with the head slide through. And we just did 2 couple moves, the ones that we worked with, you know, when you had people at home. And we got it back here.
And you notice also what Lee did, and we're thinking about sight calling, is he was in control the whole time, which is really what we should be doing as callers. But many times as dancers, have you ever danced to a caller who says head square through and calls about 15 calls in that little 0 box formation or corner box? You don't feel like you're going anywhere. He took 2 dancers and brought them across the street, did some things, some different formations, some different arrangements. He got them quickly in a tidal wave, and then he brought them back home for the resolution. And that's what we need to do as callers. Don't drill them into the ground in one quadrant of the square. They want to visit and play with other people in the square. Don't drill them in there, and that's exactly what he did. It was great.
All right, now, just back home, get the square yourself, okay? Now, we concentrated on the 2 couple moves going back and forth, up and down across the street, using those two couple of moves. There are about 40 some odd moves there. With the touch a quarter, the circulate, the linear cycle, the recycle, we have the walk and dodge. I have a whole list of these calls. And the way you practice these calls is you get two couples in your house or whatever, and you got spin the top, recycle, linear cycle, scoot back, slide through, touch a quarter, veer left, veer right, rolls. Rolls is probably the most important call in square dancing because you can adapt that to hundreds of calls. I wrote it. It came off a call called right and left roll, which is a hard call to do. Where you do a right and left through and roll at the end of the call. Don't try that with the beginning group, they probably won't get it. So that's how I deal with the beginning with the head slide through, which I said is very important. That initial thing where the head two girls, where the head two ladies have lost their partners. Then you can start to work back and forth. Now, let's have the heads just step to the right and make a line of 4. Oh no, go back again. I want to show you something. Have the heads move in and square through 4. I hate to take time doing it this way. Now watch this for a minute, okay? And just hope I don't have to cough in between. Swing through. Jeez, I have a bad throat. Do you know what happened there, by the way? Anybody know what just happened there? What happened there is they finished the call as I was calling. Most dancers are pattern dancers. That's what I tried to show you. Most dancers are pattern dancers because a lot of the callers are pattern callers. Most callers in the country are not sophisticated callers, or what they do is a lot of the callers in the country, I don't know what percentage, learn how to do their calling based on what they hear on the backside of singing call records. Example, this is a true story. A caller started a call, swing through, boys run, started a cough, they automatically did a Ferris wheel and the centers passed through. Because that's what he calls all the time. Nothing wrong with them. If they keep coming back and forth, they're happy, and if he's happy. If you're comfortable with that, and they keep coming the dance beat, just keep calling it. If you want something a little extra special, I'm your kind of guy. Okay? All right. You want to go back and square up here, 0. I don't want to have, another thing I want to show you. Well, that's at the end of the dance when I show you 1 or 2 calls that I think you should do with your dance. Okay? I'm not going to have these guys, I just want to have you step out to the right, make a line of 4, okay? Have everybody slide through. Another important formation you should memorize. Because as you start to call freewheel and things like this, this is a formation you should really start to know. Because after the lines of 4 slide through, you should know that if they square through 3, you're going to get an alligator left. This is really important. Everybody's looking at their partner here. You should know, and this is a formation that you should build in, and this is what you're shooting for. If you don't know this, you shouldn't memorize it. If you do a right and left through, do that. Okay. Instead of doing the right and left through, I could call 30 calls to do that. You should know from here, if you're out of gear and you pass through, you can do an alligator left. If you don't know that, memorize it. Now, instead of doing a right and left through here, by the way, there must be 10 calls you can do instead of that. And don't do this. You can slide through and roll. You can box it out to a right and left grand. You could, watch this, square through 4. Can you see that you and your partner are looking at? You can do a partner trade and roll. Not yet. Can you see that? Take a look at that. We can chase to the right, and what's going to happen after that? Chase right. Have your partner, yes or no?
Yes.
Boys run around that girl. Are you following this, what's happening? Yes. Slide through. You're back to your 0 sequence, the one that we were looking at before. All right, square up, please. I really didn't need it, but that was part of our game plan.
Part of it.
Okay.
So the key things that I really want you to look for is this. Number one, after the head slide through, please. That after the square through 3, do that. After the heads to the square through 3, okay? You gotta, don't do this. You have an Allemande left here, all right? I don't want to do the Allemande left. You have no idea what the possibilities here are. Slide through. All right? Roll a half sachet. You still got your corner next to you, for heaven's sakes. All right, across from you, star through. Do a U-turn back. You're still working right here. If you can't see that, you've got a problem. Touch a quarter. You're still working right here. Boys run. Can you see that? Square through 2. Can you see what's happening here? Do a U-turn back. Touch 1/4. Take a look what's happening. We're working off this box of 4 right here. Scoot back. Girls turn back. You want to really be neat? Roll over the half sachet. Square through 4. Don't do this to save time, but you can walk right into a right and left grand. So square up. Those are the things that you can look for. Something else that's cute, okay? Have the heads move in, face your corner. Slide through. Pass through. Skip the first part and do a right and left through. Pass through. Now what is a right and left through? It's a right pull by and courtesy turn. Do we agree? Okay. We're skipping the pull by. Skip the first part and do a right and left through. So we do that. All right, do a right and left through. What the heck? Now slide through. Now you're looking at your corner right here. All right? So look at all these possibilities that we have here. You can do the Allemande left. You can square through 4 and you'll still have her in a way, but you'll be looking out. You can touch a quarter. You can scoot back. This is common. Do a touch a quarter. Okay? Lots of people, when they call a scoot back, they come back. It equals a partner trade. Yes or no? All right, do a scoot back. All right, the boy can fold. The girl can turn through. Fold. Girls turn through. Courtesy turn. Roll over the half sachet. Take a look at what's happening here.
Everybody's home.
Sure he's home. Let's have the end people do me a favor. Face in. You 0 out. So you can just look at these things. Everything is really close. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can do this with a mainstream dance. You can talk to the dancers into doing different things that may appear to be very complicated, but they're really not if you tell them what to do and what the close situation is. They're really close home to what their partners are. Watch this, okay? Head couples pass through. Separate, walk around one. Same sexes are together. You have no idea what you can do with same sexes together. Pass through. Girls trade, boys only bend the line. Crazy, isn't it? Walk straight ahead, circulate. Boys trade. Everybody do your part of a Ferris wheel. Boys sweep a quarter. Look what happened. That's really not hard, and you can tell them you're in a beginning double pass-through position. You can get plus dancers to do this. Boys pass through. Veer left. I'm going to do it again for you. Just the girls bend the line. Boys trade. Set it up with same sexes. Listen to what I said. Walk straight ahead. I'm not saying phantom. I'm taking that out. If you say phantom, I mean you're fired that same day. Walk straight ahead and circulate. Girls trade. Everybody do your part of a Ferris wheel. You're in a squared up set. Back out, girls. Boys face each other. Boys, imagine you're side couples. You're going to back up, girls walk forward. Grand square, go. Reverse, please.
We didn't get there yet.
She's impossible. Because she's a good cook. And I'm going to show you something here, okay? Watch carefully. Join hands in a ring. And circle to the left, go. Stop there. I stopped him there for a minute while the music is going on. Now, why did I stop? I'm side calling. I stopped him here because the girls are at the head position. Okay? I'm going to say stop there, square your set, girls are at the head position. While they're circling. Now, I'm side calling here. Why did I do this? Because I wanted to make sure either the girls or the boys were at the head position. Then I can start to call. Girls come into the middle, square through 2. Now there's where side calling comes in. While they're circling with the same sexes, they're moving around, I made sure that the girls were lined up or the boys were lined up at the head position for me to say, stop right there. You dig? Talk to me.
Yes.
All right, star through. Okay, I'm looking now for something here. I'm looking for him or him to line up with originals. Okay, boys trade. All couples circulate. I'm looking to match up 2 boys with original partners. In fact, I lucked out here. Take a look. Boys trade again. I want you to bend the line. Slide through. Remember that business I said when lines are 4, slide through, and to square through 3, you know, when the 1P, 2P, or 0 lines, whatever that means, okay? We're pretty close to this. Do right and left through. Who's your corner? I pass through Alan left. Come back and promenade.
Where he blocks the net right now.
You be quiet and get through it. You know, there's one thing I forgot. There's one thing I forgot to mention. Okay, when I go to it, when I'm about to call a 10, all right. Now, Ed Foot doesn't agree with me, but I have to tell you this. Even if it's 1 square, I always write down partner and corner. Even if I know everybody, it doesn't matter. And if it's more than 1 square, whatever, I write down partners and corners that are here, there, and back there, so I can canvas the whole group. And what it does, if you write down a partner and corner in the squares, it releases from you the responsibility of having to concentrate on the choreography and who's partners and corners. You may not have to do that, but I have to do that. So I write down partners and corners either in 1 square, or if you have a large group, 1 here, 1 there, and 1 in the back so you can watch it. So if this square breaks down, at least you can switch over to some of the others. I remember watching a caller call. He was calling, and he had set it up. That was before they used to put out the computers where you had to dance with certain people. And he had this very strong square over here in the left-hand corner. And he turned his back on everybody except this group here. And he's calling, and this group is dancing beautifully. Nobody else is dancing. And after the tip, nobody clapped for him except this group here. So, my suggestion to you is this. If you're good at being able to just side call, watch without writing anything down, if you're good at that, if you're smart enough to do that, go ahead and do it. I would suggest write down a partner and corner, however you like to write it down, size, names, colors, or whatever, go ahead. But I would suggest write down partners and corners. That's what I do.
And remember to look at it when it comes time for resolution. I can't tell you how many times I'm told, well, I said, they get lost, and I said, but you wrote it down. I said, I know, I forgot to look. It's so true. If you're going to write it down, look. And one other quick thing, when you're site calling, sometimes, at least, I had a great example, it's pretty obvious sometimes to see a caller on stage staring at 1 square. Don't do that. I mean, that's so obvious. You need to look across the whole breadth of the hall. Look straight to the back. Look over here. Even if you're not looking at that particular square for resolution, but look around. Dancers are dancing, but they look up and they want to know that maybe you're looking at them over here, or you're looking at them over there. Somebody who's staring over here because they want to quickly resolve their square, they're ignoring the rest of the hall. That's not a professional. That's not part of site calling.
Let me show you some unusual choreo that I use. Now, I'm pretty sure that some of you can expand and extend on some of the stuff that I'm going to give to you. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to take some of that information, so let me show you some of the stuff I do, okay? Face your partners, and turn them on the left, make an element left, make an element dar, but don't turn it, okay? Don't turn it. Just the heads do, you turn back. All right, some have rights, some have lefts. You see that? I'm going to call it right swing through. This is tough. Your group won't be able to do it right away, but it's worth a shot. Where's the right hand? Okay, you're all going to do a right swing through. Go, turn right, and then go to the left. Do a right swing through, turn right, and then go to the left. Now there's a timing factor here, as you can see. These two are starting with the right here, we're starting with the right here. Fun to do. They will not be able to do it right away. Some people are going to start to rush, but it's worth a shot and it's fun to do. Do a right swing through, you turn right, and then by the left.
Please stand like.
And then by the left. Now, if you want to get out of this, let me show you. Hinge. Anybody who's looking out, do a U-turn back. At the head position, slide through. Same forward, pass through. Now, you got same sexes. If your dancers don't know how to do a slide through with same sexes, you're not teaching them the right way. Watch what happens. Slide through. You want to get them out of this quickly? Those that are facing, you're going to right and left through.
Nice.
Look what happens. Everybody's normal. Well, I don't know. So let's show you this from this one. Pass through. Wheel and deal. And center forward, roll away. And the same forward, pass through. You're looking at same sexes, slide through. Those that are facing, working on each side, important to say, because they may want to work in the middle. Those that are facing on each side, start a right and left through. And everybody's normal. See that? I want you to do me a favor and slide through. That's good. Pass to the center. Center's pass through. How about a slide through here, please? We're doing very well. Pass through, wheel and deal. Zoom, that's still on the list, right? Center's pass through. Veer to the left. How about a Ferris wheel? Center slide through. Back away, and you're good. Oh, are you a couple number 4?
Side drop.
Oh, you do right left through. Don't get upset. All right, watch this. Watch this. Have the heads move in, face your corners. Make an ocean wave. How many call spin chain exchange of gears? Nobody calls spin chain exchange of gears here in this room? All right. Start a spin chain exchange of gears. But the first boy, lead him out. But lead him out to a line of 4. A little different, not hard to teach, easy to do. Okay? Pass through. Wheel and deal. In the middle, swing through, the others roll away. Well, why did I do the others roll away? Extend your tag. Okay. Just the boys circulate, and the boy run around that girl. I've done the line. Slide through. Square through 3. Okay, I like it. That looks pretty good. Out on your left, come back home and don't promenade. Just back out and square your set. Let me show you another thing. And watch how this works. Have the heads pair off. We're just moving face your corners. Make an ocean wave. Spin chain exchange the gears again. All right, go ahead. But lead him out to a wrong way, single file promenade. That's taking one call. Keep going. Face to the middle. Join 16, circle to the left. Go ahead. Side couples move to the middle and slide through. Okay, zoom. In the middle, past the ocean. Recycle. And there you go. You're back home. So here we took this call, spin chain exchange of gears. We had him in a line of 4. We did it. And then we had him come out to a wrong way, single file promenade. That's another possibility, to take one call and do that. Okay? Have the heads do me a favor. No, don't do me a favor, just do it. Go into the middle and face your corners while the others roll away with a half sachet. All right? square through 2. Same sexes, right? Okay, do a partner trade. And everybody touch a quarter. Do it all, you circulate. All the girls trade, spread apart, while the boy looking out, do you turn back. You got a space here. I can have the boys just move in and do something. You can have the boys move in and pass the ocean. That'll give us a diamond. I can have the boys, by talking to them, make believe you're looking at somebody. And touch a quarter with that person. And the boys trade and roll the face, and you have some kind of a line. So you have these different possibilities. One is a little bit harder than the next. When I said boys make believe you're looking at somebody and touch a quarter with them and roll the face, look at what I said. Make believe you're looking at somebody, touch a quarter, roll the face. Got the idea? So there's different things you can say to them, which make it easier for them. Now, some of you are going to say, well, this stuff is too hard. It doesn't have to be that hard if you give some very strong directional calling. Let's have the boys pass the ocean. You have a diamond, cut the diamond. Good, bend the line and reverse flutter. I like what I see, pass the ocean. Everybody hinge, girls turn back. To your right, circle a quarter or an eighth, and back home. Don't go too far.
And it doesn't have to be difficult. Like, I know we have a lot of experienced callers looking around the room here that are doing sight call on a regular basis. You can incorporate little bits of this. You're not going to throw all these kinds of formations, arrangements, one night or 2 nights to your group. But if you're not quite sure of them, what should we do? Take on a checkers, start practicing them. Start writing some choreography down if you have to. Write some ideas down. And then you can incorporate this into your sight calling method, especially when it comes time for resolution. If you notice, we always sort of keeps 2 of us keep people together or close by. So they don't have to, although sometimes when we're sight calling, when it's time to resolve, it looks like there's 800 people in this square. Okay? But there's not. There's only 8. But you are in control. So even though you might want to venture out and do some of this non-vanilla type choreography, that's great. It doesn't have to be difficult, but you still need to be in control. And if you're not sure of it, don't do it cold turkey. Write it down and play with your checkers.
Let's move in and face your corners. Make an ocean wave. How many call linear cycle at home?
Yeah.
Okay, watch the linear cycle. Do a linear, the way I told you to. I pass the ocean. This is the way I teach my dances, a linear, written by the author here. Hinge. You're looking out, fold. Follow them down, no hands, and appear to the right. That's the definition of the call. All right, star through. Rear to the left. Don't do this. Definition of the call. Hinge, looking out, fold. Follow them down, appear to the right. 2 face lines. Hinge. Looking out, fold. Follow them down, peel to the right. 2 face lines linear. Pass through. Lines of 4 facing out. On the linear. Hinge. Looking out, fold. Follow them down, peel to the right. Linear cycle. Lines of 4 facing out, 2 face lines. See what I'm talking about? Star through. Touch a chord. Okay. Do it all eight circulate, 1.5. Center 6, trade. Roll to face. Pass through. Lines of 3. Now, how did that come out? From a column, circulate 1.5. This is probably for advanced level dancers. Callers, are there advanced level callers here? Anybody? Okay, this is for these guys. Girls trade. That lonesome boy in that group of 3, run around the nearest girl. Lines of 3. Lines of 3, touch a quarter. Okay, everybody, wrong way, single file, promenade. Everybody, all 8. All right, face to the middle. Join 16, circle to the left, go. With a brand new corner, elevate left. Come back and promenade. I'm watching the group. Keep walking. Boys roll back, Alameda left. Come back and promenade this new girl. Head man and your girl wheel around, whoever it might be. Okay, I can see what the story is right here. I see that he has his corner, that he's his partner. All right, slide through. I'm watching him. We're in really good shape here because he has his original partner. Remember that business where they had slide through? They lost their partners? Yes or no?
Yes.
And two couples had their original? Well, he has his original, he has his original, he lost his original. We're in great shape. Pass to the center. Okay. You can see that if they pass through, they can do an element left. Can everybody see that? Okay. Center's pass through. I don't want to do an element left. Remember that business with the two couples? All those things I told you about that you can do with, you can touch a quarter, scoot back, and all that business to get back to this position. Where you can extend your tip and your choreography and all that business. You got it right here. You know he can do an Alamein left here. Is that right? Do we agree?
Yes.
I don't want to do that. Pass the ocean. Hinge. Split, circulate. Boy right around that girl. Pass the ocean. Spin the top. I still am looking for this girl to come to him. See that? Boy right around that girl. Do a half tag, scoot back, boy run, and then reverse flutter. I'm just watching him with those two couple things we spoke about. We're in good shape. Slide through, boom, Alamein left. Come back and score your set. This is after practicing with the two couples. I want to show you something else. Everybody face to the right in single file and promenade. Go. Girls backtrack. Pass them one time. And the second time you meet him, I want you to stop. And stop and just look at her. Okay? You got all kinds of possibilities here. Of course you can swing it, which most of you will call. You can do-so-do. You can turn through. You can slide through. That's a little bit tougher. Slide through. You're facing out. A little bit harder. Probably won't call it, unless your group is really good. So you slide through, you're all facing out. If you want to do a gimmick, you can join hands and circle to the right facing out, which is stupid. I wouldn't do that. Well, maybe you will.
Why not?
But you say here, if you did the slide through, you're facing out. You've got to figure out some choreography. If you're an advanced dancer, then you consider your partner to do a single wheel. Anybody advanced callers here?
Yes.
No, we don't do it. But if you're looking out like here, you could just say after you do the slide through, if you want to get out of this, because the slide through looking out is hard enough. But that's a degree of difficulty you've already given to the dancers. So just say do a partner trade. Go ahead. And roll. Then you're all set. Don't do this. Do a right left hand. Promenade home. So from all those.
Or you can do that.
Anybody else? All right, let's have our guys sit down for a minute and rest. Let's have our guys sit down and rest. All right, open for discussion.
Right now, at this point, we'll take some questions, but you need to come to the microphone and give us your name and where you're from. Now, this is really good stuff. Again, I don't urge you to just run out and call this stuff cold turkey, especially if you're a newer caller and you're still learning the sight call. But how many use a particular method when they sight call? Barry, what do you use?
Relationships.
Relationship. Oh, that's
Come up here and tell us what that means. Come up to the mic.
And tell us who you are.
Barry Johnson from Lake in the Hills, Illinois. Actually, what I do, Lee, is almost identical to what you did.
Talk to them.
Sure. Relationships, I understand. I get boxes of 4 where I know that, for example, everybody's right-hand leg is in the box of 4, and I can dance them all over the floor, keeping those 4 dancers together. When the time's right, I pair up the matched couple, put them in the center, pass through, trade by to quarter, bam, done.
So is that any different from what we did?
No, it's just a different name. It's exactly the same as what you did.
Okay, okay. Any other questions?
Anybody have any other
Well,
methods?
That must have been a good session then.
Well, that's another form what we used to call isolated.
John?
John Marshall, Virginia. Lee, do you spend any time looking at the body of the calls you're going to put together before your resolution? Do you have a theme in mind when you get up to work, or are you just freewheeling the whole time?
Freewheeling.
That's not for everybody. It's for people who have spent the time pushing your checkers. I like to say in the caller schools, you have to write to sight. You need to be pushing your checkers, not just looking at letting the computer do it for you guys, because the computer does not understand hand usage or body flow. And I think you get in trouble with that. And don't be a dramatic reader either. Know your stuff, right? But you need to write to sight to get these ideas. All these ideas that Lee's had, he's worked them out. He already told you that. Push your checkers, look at it, see what you get. If you ask yourself 2 questions, you'll never run out of ideas. Ask yourself, what happens if, when you look at your checkers, what happens if I do this? And the second question is, what else can I do from here? If you do that,
Always
you'll never
concerned
run.
with body flow though.
Absolutely. Body flow is critical dancer to not only good dancing, but dancer success. And you develop the trust with your dancers as you're starting to call, especially the new group you don't know. You need to develop trust quickly, and that good body flow will help you do that, and then you can do more with the dancers.
I'm going to have my group come up here and show you a couple of calls that are on higher level lists. And I want to show you that can be done at a mainstream or even a plus level that are comfortable and that are valuable, that should be used, I think, at some of these lower level dances. And I think you're going to look at them and probably enjoy them and consider them for your groups. So if we have no other questions, I think you had a question back there. Did you have a question?
Richard?
You asked about different
You gotta
methods.
use the mic, Richard, come on.
Yeah.
Richfield Hayward, I was just sitting in the back. But you asked about methods. You've seen like 2 examples. There's, I don't know, many, dozens, and I think CALLERLAB even offers a little overview of different methods that are available to match your thinking. Some people think. For me, it's hard to think of corners, so I tend to use sequence. That may be harder for a lot of other people. So it's whatever your skills are, what matches you. And some people say, oh, you should learn modules first, or oh, you should do whatever first. But that may be a very specific type of person with a certain brain that some things are easy, like memorizing, where for me, memorizing is really hard.
Yeah, and very quickly, Dottie Welch and her committee spent the last 2 years working on a new book that is available free of charge to every CALLERLAB member if you want it. It's on site systems. It is a very thick volume. It's extensive and exhaustive, and I suggest you pick it up. It's got all the methods there, all the resolutions, all the systems, dance examples, and it's absolutely free, and it's online. It's online at the CALLERLAB website, callerlab.org. Please get a copy of that, download it. Her and her committee spent over 2 years working on this, grabbing all the methods and information from some of the caller coaches and other leaders. So I urge you to pick that, to go online and get it.
Lottie, you want to come up and be couple number 2? You can rest. The other couples come on up that were here before. You're number 2, Lottie. Okay. I want to show.
It's not cooking bad.
Okay. This is I think probably one of the most uncomfortable calls, and one call that I know we don't need, and the substitute for that call at the mainstream level is the heads lead to the right and circle to a line of 4. Now some of you may have heard me talk about this before. Watch how I count this. Heads lead out to the right and circle up 4 to a line of 4. 13 words. And some people, when they lead out to the right and circle to a line of 4, there are 2 different styles that some people use. Couple number 1, lead out here, circle to a line of 4, and use it as a slide out. No, just slide it out. Now you lead out to the right, and you lead it so that you turn them under the arm. Turn them under. So you got 2 possibilities. You can either slide them out or turn them under. Okay, square up. In order to get him into this 1P, 2P, or whatever, watch what's going to happen. I have a call, which is usually a higher level, that has only 4 words to it. Heads bring us together. 4 words. Say it.
Heads bring us together.
No, you say it. Heads bring us together. Say it. Okay, watch what we do now. The head couples move into the middle. They're going to circle half and slide away from each other. Circle half. And then slide away from each other, not too far. And they're not holding hands. That's what they do. In the meantime, the other couples are going to promenade single file behind them and join them in a line of 4. And that equals the heads lead out to the right and circle to a line of 4. Now let's go back and see how that looks. Okay? Now this is in place, so heads lead out to the right and circle to a line of 4. Now listen, heads bring us together. Listen to how that sounds too. Ready, go. Heads bring us together. There it is, it's over. And you can't tell me that that doesn't look better than and also sound better than.
Any styling variations on this call?
Oh yes, Bridget, yes.
Any what?
Any variations?
Styling variations.
Yeah, he knows me. All right, pass through and do a wheel and deal. One good thing about any kind of a call is how much mileage you can get on it. Now that particular call from the squared up set always begins with the center circling half. Now if you're in a double pass-through position, another way you can call that is by giving a fraction, where the centers 3/4 circle or 1/4 circle bring us together. So you got to give a fraction. People on the outside always promenade single file behind the centers after they circle the fraction I give to them. Example, you're going to circle just for now 1/4 and then slide away. Ready? 1/4 circle bring us together. Go. There you go. So you got it from the beginning, double pass. You got to give them the fraction first. Pass through, wheel and deal. We're going to give them another fraction. You got to go to the right. Don't forget. 3/4 circle bring us together. So they circle 3/4. And you got this position here. So the fraction in the middle can be either 1/4, 3/4. I'm not through. Pass through, wheel and deal. Double pass through, and the centers trade. Now we're in a trade by position. Can the call be done here?
Absolutely.
People on the outside have to know which way is single file. This time it's to your left. It's to your left on the outside. These guys still do the same fraction. 3/4 circle bring us together. So here you have this one call that can be done from all these positions. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm not through. All right.
Note the gender is different.
All right.
The gender, somebody's in that shape.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm not through. How the girls pass the ocean? And then hinge. Would you ever think of calling a coordinate from here? This has nothing to do with bringing us together, but as long as you're sitting here with friends, I'll show it to you. Now, a coordinate is, starts with a circulate 1.5. Do we agree? Yes. Let's have the boys circulate 1.5, which means you have right hands. This is not a call to your plus group. No. And the girls circulate in the middle 1.5 and stop there. Notice the center 6, and when they coordinate the center 6, when they meet, they trade, yes or no?
Yeah.
And these two people are in the middle of a coordinate after they trade, they walk up. By the center 6, trade. And these two people walk up, and you have to walk up too, and you're up in diamonds. Don't try it with your plus group, you'll be fired.
Listen, teacher.
All right, squeeze 7. All right, one other thing I want to show you to bring us together, have the heads lead to the right, veer to the left, and the girls hinge. You four and everybody in the diamond circulate and roll the face. You can do it in the diamond. And it's a single bring us together. And if I say boys, single circle bring us together, The boys are going to single circle half, and the girls are going to promenade past them and face in and go. Single circle, bring us together. 4. And there you go right there. Now, the only one that doesn't seem to understand this is my wife.
My allowance is gone.
Actually, it works the other way. All right, now you 4, everybody to your left, and the girls hinge. Do a diamond circulate and roll. Now, before we had these people bring it together. Now the girls are going to bring the diamond together and go. Boys go, promenade pass them. If you, depending on who you pick, then you have it up in the line of 4.
Would become a whole thing.
Absolutely terrific. Right down, bring us together from the basic squared position. That's where you should be doing it from. If you want to get really involved, call me on the phone, I'll give you my number. All right.
Yeah, we had someone else asked me a side, do you want to spur up or do you want to keep them there? Spur them up. But another thing, somebody asked, remember when you're sight calling, it's all well and good to do extemporaneous sight calling and freewheeling and call whatever you want to call. But remember, as professional callers, it's not just the sight calling or the resolution. We have to have good timing. We have to have good body flow, hand availability. We have to utilize the music. We have to be able to work with our music. We have to be able to breathe and breathe properly and have diction. So when you're calling, whether it's sight calling or modules, whatever you're using, but we are talking about sight calling, there's about 12 balls that you're juggling in the air at the same time. So it's not just choreography, it's not just resolution, it's a lot of things that go into it. And we have to be aware of that at all times when we're calling. Lee?
Yeah, I am aware of that. This choreography and the calling, I'm fully aware of the timing aspect and the music. This is not staccato. When it comes out, I call this with the music, and I'm fully aware of the timing aspect. I wish we had music here because I would show you how it's done.
We have one other comment here.
Yeah.
Let's see if this will reach.
I think it'll reach.
I'll be loud.
No, go ahead, it'll reach. I'll get it.
I can give mine.
I got it.
Yeah, try.
Go ahead, Chuck.
The biggest thing I see people who are learning how to sight call is they do not know the ending formation. And you have to know how they're going to end up. Will they be lines facing out? Will they be half shade or whatever?
Well, I think that I think the important thing is to know where your corner is and where your original partner is. Sometimes when you do your calling on that, you may be ending up in a line, you may be ending up in a circle, you may be ending up in a column, but somewhere along, well, here, let me show you, okay? Have the head slide through, double pass through. Now you're here, let's have the lead 2 trade. Do it right and left through. Now, okay, I can see, now do an Alameda left. So I'm looking for the partners in the corners right there. They were in an 8-chain through position. It doesn't matter, I can see where they are. I'm looking for partners in corners, no matter where they are. What are you talking about? Alameda left. I think about the promenade. The critical thing is to find out where your partner in corner is at that time.
What I'm seeing is that the newer guys in the sight calling will call a call, and then the next call doesn't work because they didn't know where the first one ended.
Yeah, I think that's really key. John Marshall again. We see people who think that dancers are human checkers, and they are not. You need to know before. Now, when Leslie just said, at the time, he needs to be looking for that corner partner.
I see.
It's not all the way through every single call. He's not tracking them on that. At that point, it's when he's ready.
I see what you mean.
But we see too many callers that come. They think this is the easy way. Sight calling is the easy way to learn how to call. It's not easy. You need to know first.
I see what you mean. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Yeah, you really have to have a foundation of your formations and arrangements. The biggest thing I see with newer callers who learn to call, they don't know what to call. And when you start to practice with them with extemporaneous sight call, you finally say, okay, call. And they go, I don't know what to call. Or they'll call something and they don't know where it ends or where the next call begins. You have to have a foundation of the formations and arrangements. And of course, the CALLERLAB has those diagrams available. For all this is available to CALLERLAB office. But if you don't know where one call ends and where one call begins, you're going to have a difficult time calling at all.
It's basically like if you do a swing through in the center's run, you know that from a wave you're going to end up with a two-faced line. I see what you mean. If you do a coordinate from columns, you know that you're going to end up in a two-faced line. You have to know what formation you're going to end up when you're doing a call. I understand what you mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes, Bob, you have, come on up, Bob.
You're not sick or anything, are you?
I have a day job, and I park as far from the front door as possible. And from the car to the front door, I will say, okay, after I do head square through 4, what would I do next? And I list off a series of calls in my head, and then I'll pick something else, and I'll go to the next formation and do the same thing. What's the list of calls that I might call when I'm doing it? That's sort of how I do the freewheeling thing, is because I've familiarized myself with a whole bunch of possible calls from where I am, and I'm building my vocabulary.
And you are who?
Bob Riggs from Centennial,
Colorado.
one of those states.
Questions, comments, this is good stuff. Yes, it's imperative that you know where one call ends and one where it begins. And that you understand also sight calling. Sometimes when we're sight calling, we may see a formation. We may see lines facing in, but we may miss the arrangement of the dancers within the line. And some callers will say star through, and they may have 2 girls facing each other. But in our mind, we saw an in-facing line. And all of a sudden our mind told us, okay, star through, but you can't. So it's not just formations, it's the arrangements of the dancers within the formation.
There's one thing I'm going to have my square come up again one more time, because this is important. You want to come up, and also what you said. Come on up. Time for you to sit. You want to come up again, or you want to rest? Okay, sit. Come on up for a little thing. Okay? This is really important, okay? And that you mentioned this, knowing ahead of time, all right? Have the heads move in, face your corners. All right, touch a corner. Center straight. You have to know how to normalize this setup right here. If you have 2 boys and 2 girls together, how many calls do you need in order to normalize it? Normalizing to me means having everybody with either an ocean wave with 2 girls in the middle or 2 boys in the middle. What can you do now to normalize the setup? Okay, you can do a split circulate, yes? Yes. Or you can have the center straight and the girls turn back. Do a split circulate, just for now. You're normalized. Do a partner hinge. Center straight. You got same sections together. Another possibility to normalize this. Well, I'm going to have the center straight again. Use it. Center straight. Okay. You can have the girls turn back, the girls run. You can have the girls fold. You have all these different possibilities. Now, these are not the kind of a thing where you're looking and say, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to normalize? You've got to make an instant decision so that you're dancing and it flows. Suppose we call spin the top. Do that. All right. What are you going to do here? Well, you can hinge, roll the face. Do a hinge. Circulate. We got all 4 boys in the middle. Girls straight, girls roll. You guys any good? Girls lower the boat. Boys walking dodge. And you're looking at 2 great girls. So in a sense, you've normalized. This is easy. Star through. Or you're in pretty good shape. Girls straight. Do a Ferris wheel. And you're good. Slide through. Do a right and left through. And you've accomplished nothing.
But when it comes time to resolve, the first thing you have to do is, if your square in whatever formation you're in is not normalized, you need to normalize first. You can't begin to resolve until you've at least normalized, and then go on and use either your method or how you resolve.
Yeah, but that was an important point that you made, and that is, how do I normalize a square? Here's another thing. Have the heads pair off for movement. Sides roll away. I pass the ocean. Do a grand swing through. This is easy to normalize. I think, anyway. Let's have 4 boys in the middle spin the top of the end girl, run around the girl. Girls are a couple, yes? Boys linear cycle, hurry up. Girls start the promenade. Boys pass through. Come on, girls, boys follow the girls. A little unusual. Girls wheel around. We're almost normalized. Pass through, turn back. We're able to do that by having the same sexes in the middle. You had a timing factor there, star through. We're looking pretty good so far. Centers pass through. Veer to the left. Do a Ferris wheel. That's not too bad. Centers pass through. Veer left. Everybody half circulate. Bend the line. Are you good? Very good.
Questions, comments? We only have about 5 minutes
Now
left.
you guys sit down. How about a nice thank you for this group?
Richard, come on up. Use the microphone. Okay. It's good stuff.
Something I can say to kind of rein in the freewheeling site caller, thinking of calling below advanced, is that you should be able to track gender. Not only know the formation that you're going to get at the end of the call, but know the arrangement that you're going to get in the formation at the end of the call, or don't call it.
Anybody have any questions? Anything else you want to ask? We still have one more.
Yeah. If not, how about a nice hand, Mr. Lee Kopman? Right here. We'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. Lee's got some handouts. Feel free to come up and take one. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day. There's only one more book. $20. Last book. Lee will sign it for you. Last book.
Did you leave your purse?
Yeah, I'm coming back.
Okay. Okay, what's the latest joke? Number 3? What's number 3?
We had a cold winter up north, and so to stay warm, some of my neighbors would go stand in a corner because that's 90 degrees.
Good way to get out warm. How you been, Ted?
So here, you were a little under, had a problem there, and I'm glad you're here and everything. They said you had a problem, you were ill, or somebody in the family was ill?
Surgery, and then we're having radiation. She got bad during the radiation. Hello, John. How are you?
Good to see you. All right. Sorry you had so much trouble.
Well, it worked out. It's, Connie was supposed to stay with her all the time. Now I don't know.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. You got somebody with her now? How you feel?
Hello, Naru. How you been, my friend? Where's your heart?
You got a photo.